Okay, so I am Kiki Abrahamson, and this is my 6th year serving on the board for Homer Council on the Arts. Our mission is ensuring Homer is a place where the empowering, enriching benefits of arts reach all members of our diverse community. So our ask is to have you help support us reach all members of our diverse community. And so what we want to ask for is architectural and engineering drawings to make handicap accessible building all around. And I'll go into that a little bit later. Next slide, Kyla. So we have, we have quite a few on-site programs. We've got the exhibit gallery, we have performances in the gallery, we have jam sessions, art workshops, artist potlucks, coffee and craft, gallery performances, fundraising events, and we even host a local book club. So we have off-site programs as well, where we're, of course, we've been running the Nutcracker Fair for years. And our program partners, I mean, I was talking to Scott about this and I said, we've got 30 more program partners. And he said, I know, I just couldn't fit them all in with the graphics. But these are the ones too that we feel would be more beneficial for handicapped access for our on-site programs. And this, I'm really particularly proud of this, our collaboration with the Kenai Peninsula Bourbon School District. We're in year 4 of a contract with the Kennedy Center for Performing Arts, very special arts program, which provides opportunities for students with disabilities. And we've been in all the schools in the Southern Peninsula. Next slide, please. This just kind of shows our audience and you know, the numbers of where, how things are going and how our numbers are increasing. This was an especially big number this year because of the programs that we did with the schools. That's why that number is jumping so high up. It was with Eduardo Mendonca and Rachel Nesbitt. Okay, next slide. So access, current status. For those of you who don't know, there's a handicap parking here and there's a ramp that goes up here. But this door, it's a very complicated platform here, and this door makes a cumbersome entry there. Plus there's a double door there. Once you get in the building, the problem is there's 2 restrooms in the back, one on this side and one on this side, but they're not handicap accessible as far as wheelchair access or with other special needs. Now downstairs that we renovated and has become such a popular ceramics studio and for ceramics classes, we are currently working on ADA accessible bathroom down there, but we have no accessible access to the basement. So this is the rear of the building. This goes up into the main gallery area. This door goes down kind of like a half flight of stairs into the basement. And down there, there's the ceramic studio and also lots of classroom space. Linda Visner did her, I mean, she had everything set out with stained glass. We've do lots of ceramics and kids projects there. We hold a lot of the VSA school lessons there if we're not able to go out to the schools. This door goes up into a little rental space that's a piano studio. So we got an estimate for the architectural design for the main floor restrooms and basement access. And the architectural estimate is 54,000 plus. I don't think, I mean, I'm not interested in looking at any of this stuff because this is like the horse that's leading the cart. Without that architectural design, we can't move forward. And we do have some block fund options, but they won't fund design, they will fund construction. So, next slide, please. I just want to thank you. I'm a big one for metaphors. This was a Tony Pirelli workshop where everybody made wooden spoons. And I just, you know, we have been contacted by Independent Learning Center and the Senior Center about trying to get access to some of these kinds of workshops and special programs for those folks that we just can't accommodate now because of the access. And so the metaphor here, of course, is all these wonderful helping hands. And we would really appreciate if you would vote for us. What I do.
Okay, next up is Hannah Gustafson to talk about the Southern Kenai Peninsula Resilience Coalition.
Back in my technology.
There you go. Pitch for technology associate. You'll get
There we go. Folks online can see it? Yes?
Yep.
Hopefully. Okay, good. So my name is Hannah. I am the SKP Resilience Coalition Coordinator, as well as the MAC Coalition Coordinator. I basically spend all my time working in community with different folks on different things. I have a lot of information on the Resilience Coalition here if anybody's interested in more. But today I'm talking to you about a project that we are working on, the Icelandic Prevention Model, otherwise known as Planet Youth. So the coalition over the last few years has really honed in on this focus to lift up our youth with positive adult connections. We are funded by the state of Alaska Department of Behavioral Health Early Intervention and Prevention Program that is very focused on young folks and families. And so there's two particular protective factors that we operate under. And one is the positive connection to adults in the community outside of your parents, and then engagement in quality after school programs. So one of our, we just did a theory of change exercise and honed in on this long-term outcome of increasing strong connection between youth and adults within high quality out of school time programs in Homer. And we talk about out of school time, it's before school, it's after school, it's evenings, weekends, summer, anytime that young folks are not in school. Oops. And so we're talking about this as a primary prevention approach. When you think about prevention in the community, primary prevention is working upstream and helping to delay or stop something before it happens. When you look at the gamut of addiction and substance use struggles in society, secondary prevention is something like smoking cessation, and tertiary prevention is something like actually going to substance use treatment. So as a coalition, we are very focused on this upstream work, and that is where the Icelandic prevention model comes in. So from a financial perspective, as a country and a nation, we actually spend way more money on tertiary prevention, which is treatment, as opposed to primary prevention, which is preventing the need for treatment to begin with. And the payback is actually much higher. Oops, you're not seeing the same one as I am. There's a little bit of a delay. Much higher in primary prevention than tertiary, and much higher success rates as well. And this is a quote by Desmond Tutu that talks about, as society, we need to stop pulling people out of the river. We need to actually go upstream and figure out why they're falling in to begin with. And this is what Iceland did back in the 90s when they had the highest rates of substance use among teens in all of European nations. They said, as a country, we got to do something about this. And so this was the birth of the Icelandic prevention model, which is still ongoing today, and they have seen resounding effects and are now the lowest rates of teen substance use in their countries, European countries. I don't know if anybody remembers this article. It came out in 2017 when I first started working as the MAP coordinator, and everyone forwarded it to me and said, we need to do what Iceland is doing. It went viral. And as a result of that, this idea of what they did and what they learned since the 90s has been studied and turned into a framework that is now being replicated and exported around the planet, actually. It's all over the globe. So just to kind of give some context, it's not a program, it's actually a structure to form, maintain, and nurture collaborative partnerships in primary prevention. And if anyone knows how to work together in collaboration, it's Homer. But one of the benefits of this is it's very data-driven, and it's very focused on local access, control, and then response to data. Anyone that works with youth knows that there are systems out there where we survey our youth, but then maybe we don't get the information back for a couple of years. And so by the time we get it back, the kids are gone and grown and it's different kids. This is a very timely program where Seward actually, a partner in the Kenai Peninsula Borough School District, launched this program and they got their results back in 6 weeks. So they're able to take the results from what they heard from youth back to the youth and say, hey, this is what we're hearing you say. And then they come up with the interventions and the things that they need as young people to help them stay healthy and make good choices. So this, my computer's faster than you all. It's actually a 10-step process. And as a community, we are about in step 3. And that's related to the data. But the whole program operates within these 4 spheres because young people spend 90% in this area with their family, their out of school time, at school, and with their peers. And so it's a model for accessing those 4 areas. So just to kind of give a big overview of this, it's a primary prevention approach model that has been deemed to be transferable. Numerous communities, states, and countries are currently implementing it. The initiatives that worked for Iceland may not work the same elsewhere, but the principles and framework can be exported. And Planet Youth is the entity that is working with nations and communities across the globe on this implementation. So as a coalition, we have actually committed to working with Planet Youth through our funder with the state of Alaska. We are almost there with the cost of the contract. My final slide is not showing, but at any rate, the shortage we have for funding this is $12,500. And that's when I realized, hey, 100 Women Who Care is kind of that equal amount. They could get us over the edge for that contract with Planet Youth. So my computer stopped working, but I think I'm out of time as well. So thank you.
There'll be a chance for some questions.
Okay, good.
So,
And there's information on the coalition.
oh, thank you. All right, Maddie.
Yeah, can I share my screen? Does Zoom let me share my screen? Is
It
that
will.
Do you dare?
Do I do
That's
that?
great. There's a delay. I'm just warning.
Okay.
Could you stop?
Yeah, you should be able to.
I can, okay. It's not going. I might just do it without it.
Did you send me the link?
I did. If you can get it up, you can try, but it's not. Should be like that. It's like, yeah, there we go.
Whoa, that's not. I don't see a link on it.
Was it an attachment maybe? Oh.
Hey.
It's okay. If it's not gonna work, it's not a big. Okay. It's just not right. Really on brand for tech today. Just today. Okay. Hi, my name is Maddie. I am a longtime member of 100 Women Who Care, and I'm embarrassed to say this is my first time actually attending a meeting. I'm really happy to be here. And thank you for the opportunity to speak today. I am presenting on behalf of the Kashmak Heritage Land Trust. If you're not familiar with the Land Trust, they are a local nonprofit. I believe they're the oldest land trust in the state. But they're a local nonprofit that works with willing landowners to keep land open and protected forever. I've worked with the Land Trust in other capacities in the past, and I can personally attest to how tirelessly the Land Trust works to conserve the natural beauty and the habitat on the Kenai Peninsula and ensure that these landscapes and ecosystems are preserved for future generations. And I think that's often a thankless task, but something that we can all get behind. So our ask today is specific to the acquisition and protection of roughly 11 acres along the Inca River called the Dragonfly property. And this property is located about a mile southeast of Anchor Point and contains frontage on the Inca River. So that means it provides really important spawning and rearing habitat for Chinook and coho and the pink and chum salmon. in addition to habitat for moose and bears and birds and all the animals that we are lucky enough to share a home with. The property is located, what makes this particular property so special is that it's located to 8 other parcels that are already owned and protected by the land trust. So conserving the dragonfly property not only helps to, maintain habitat, existing habitat, but it also helps encourage that continuity of conservation along the river, which is a really important migration corridor for the Kenai Peninsula. So the Conservation Fund, the Land Trust is working with the Conservation Fund to acquire and protect these properties. The Conservation Fund, through their own fundraising, already, I believe they hit about $120,000, and they were already able to purchase these 2 parcels that total about 11 acres, with the intent of transferring it to the Land Trust for long-term ownership and management and protection, which is the bread and butter of Kachemak Heritage Land Trust. So now the Land Trust is fundraising for the stewardship costs and legal defense costs associated with protecting land in perpetuity. The initial amount that the Land Trust needed to come up with was $40,000. As of last week, I believe that they are $10,778 shy of that mission. So similarly, this 100 Women Who Care grant is a really perfect amount of money for them to make an actionable progress on this project. Land conservation to me is more than just conserving land, right? It's about creating and leaving a legacy. In this case, the legacy of clean air and clean water and abundant wildlife and happy families and healthy communities. And to me, it's about setting an example for our children and for our community and prioritizing what's important to us, which is making sure that the Kenai Peninsula remains this bright and vibrant place, this healthy place to raise families and live and enjoy. Unfortunately, protecting land isn't cheap. So if awarded, our donation today would go directly toward these stewardship costs associated with this specific piece of land. These don't just go to the general fund. There's a very specific purpose for this donation. It'll close that gap, that roughly $11,000 gap that they have left, and allow the Land Trust to assume ownership and protect this piece of land in perpetuity, forever, while ensuring it remains open for families to enjoy. So that means you can still take your kids fishing and your grandkids fishing, but there's no development on the land. So I grew up in Homer. I left for college, I came back, and I am now raising my family here. And I think part of what makes this place such an incredible community to raise children in is resources like Spark and Sprouts and activities like Junior Nordic and Homer Hockey and all these amazing things that this group has donated to in the past. But just as important to me are the things that are not here and the places that we leave untouched. And thinking about that, I want my kids to grow up how I did, playing with salmon guts and learning to appreciate where our food comes from and learning not to leave the salmon guts outside because we have bears for neighbors. And in order to have that childhood and in order for their children to have that childhood, we need salmon. Salmon need land. So I hope you'll consider the long-term benefits and generational benefits of donating to the Land Trust today and helping them protect things that make our community so special, 1 acre at a time or 11 acres at a time. Thank you.
Thanks.